And sir, you mentioned that there is this growing alignment of China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, various authoritarian countries that all seek the same thing, which is to undermine U.S. influence and stability in the world. But are you of the mind or the school of thought that believes that because China has the most capacity to do the most harm, that we should focus on the Asia geographic region to the exclusion of the Middle East and Europe?
We can't afford to. I mean, we can't, we don't have the resources to be engaged all around the world, and nor should we be. But China and Russia in particular are working together to try to present to us a false choice. Do we engage in the Asia region or the Middle East or in Europe? Because there's confrontation all around. And all of those countries are working together and flaunting it. They're trying to test our resolve because they know the only thing standing between their tyrannical overrun of the entire globe is the might of the U.S., just like it was, as Reagan said 50 years ago. And they see us as weakened right now, to be frank, because they see weakness projected from the Oval Office, and it's a very, very dangerous situation for us. Now, I've been quick to point out in interviews I've done over the last couple of weeks, and I look right into the camera as often as I can, and I would encourage all you to do the same in every setting and sphere of influence you have, and remind our enemies, do not think this is an opportunity for you. Regardless of the drama surrounding our current commander-in-chief, the U.S. military is well equipped and ready to strike at any time. We will defend our interests, and I think we've got to be very bold in that assertion and make sure they understand the resolve of Congress and the rest of this country. Don't mess with us, okay? But China, Russia have made their big pact now with all the, celebrated that in the media. They, Iran is joining in. North Korea doesn't want to be left out. I mean, it's a China-led axis, and I think we do great damage to our cause if we underestimate it.
And so then on that point, I mean, I noticed in the Trump administration still viewed Russia as an acute threat, a peer adversary threat that the United States had to contend with. And it seems like the Biden administration also wants to do sort of an Asia pivot like what the Obama administration did. So but is your view, though, I mean, you mentioned about Russia's continued threat to the Baltic countries and to Poland. So you take Putin seriously at his word that if he's not stopped in Ukraine, that he will continue to advance on NATO?
I think it's a real concern. Now, we have the only good thing that's come out of the conflict in Ukraine, the war in Ukraine, is that we've shown that Putin was overestimated in terms of his ability to prosecute a war. And by some estimates, they've lost over 500,000 Russian troops in the conflict, and they've obviously gone through a lot of their assets and their equipment, their munitions. And so in a certain sense, engaging there has been very helpful for our long-term interests because you're weakening Russia in the process. But he's realigned his economy to be a wartime economy, and by all appearances, he could go on for quite some time. And I think it's very serious. He said it in his own words. He aspires to have the great Tsar Empire again. And I think if he had the ability and he did not have deterrence, I'm of the mind that I think he would. And I think most people who study this seriously believe that's a real serious threat. And so, I don't think it could be underestimated. I think we have to watch China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, Venezuela, Cuba, all of them at the same time. And we have to be very smart, and we have to project peace through strength. If we don't return to the Reagan doctrine, we're going to be in serious trouble.
And